Today I'm discussing about solar pond and this. You know that a solar pond is a pool of salt water which collects and stores solar thermal energy. The salt water naturally forms a vertical salinity gradient in which low salinity water floats on top of high salinity water because usually the pond in the pond the continuous or discontinuous energy supply system, the energy storage is required to balance the energy of dispatches between the demand and supply of energy. Especially the solar energy system, the energy available only particular duration and only daytime. Hence, the thermal energy storage is required to improve the performance and reducing total cost. In this context, attention has been focused on the possibility of using large area of water on of small depth because we need a good performance and to reduce the cost for absorbing and storing solar radiation instead of using flat bed collectors and hot water storage tanks. Our experience shows that the water in such a pool usually heats up only a few degrees. Because of the there causes some natural convection currents, which may be a big factor for how heat loss occurs and which are set into motion and the heat is absorbed at the bottom of the pond also. So there are so many heat losses. Now to prevent that, we use a solar pond. So when we create a salinity or salt gradient, uh, then we can attain a significant rise in the water temperature uh, and the natural convection can be prevented. An artificially constructed pond in which significant temperature rise are caused to occur in the lower regions by preventing convection is called a solar pond. A solar pond is a pool of salt water which acts as a large scale of solar thermal energy collector as well as integral heat storage for supplying thermal energy. So the basic idea of a solar pond is we use the salt gradient for the preventing the natural convention and heat losses. It consists of air expanse of water about a meter or two in depth in which salts like sodium or magnesium chloride are dissolved. Salt water naturally forms a vertical salinity gradient. Also, it is known as a halocline, in which low salinity water floats on the top of a high salinity water. The gradient is higher in the lower depths. So, the layers of salt solution increase in concentration with depth. So, when we go to the downwards, the salt gradient is higher. You can either use sodium or magnesium chloride as a salt. Below a certain depth, the solution has uniformly high salt concentration. Then we are discussing about the working of a solar pond in the basis of a graphical analysis. As we can see, the solar pond has a we consider the solar pond with a depth L and we consider small distances from downwards as x. The top, we assume the concentration at the top as C1 and which is the concentration of the top is less than and that of concentration at the bottom. That is C1 is less than that of concentration at the bottom. We discussed that the salinity gradient is higher in lower depth than the upper because the most of the salt solution or the salt is concentrated near the end and sorry in the depth. So we can say that the upper concentration is less than that of the bottom and the concentration gradient exists from the top to the bottom. The variation of density with the temperature for the two concentration is as shown. This is the density and the temperature curve. From the curve, we can analyze that the T1 and ρ1 are the temperature and density of the top layer, and T2 are the ρ2 are the temperature and density of the bottom layer, and it is indicated by point. The top layer is indicated by point P, and the bottom layer is indicated by point Q. Similar points are located for intermediate layers, and the curve PQ is drawn, showing the variation of density as one moves downwards in the pond. So the concentration at the bottom is indicated by Q, and the concentration at the top is indicated by P. When we calculate the intermediate layers density and temperature variation and concentration, we can plot the PQ curve. So it is we assume that there is no convection will occur as long as the slope of the curve, this slope is positive. As we can see that PQ curve is a positive slope. Now conversion will occur so long as the slope of the curve PQ is positive. So this is the working principle on the basis of a graphical analysis, and the L is the depth of the solar pond. Then we can represent in the mathematical conditions that the lower layers remains denser than those on the upper by d rho by dx is greater than 0. We can say that the concentration of, we discussed that concentration of C1 is less than concentration of C2. That is, we consider small depth. X is the small depth downwards the pond, and when we represent it mathematically, the d rho by dx is simply saying that densities on the lower layers is, that is when we changing, when we differentiating density with the distance, it will be greater than equal to 0. That is, the lower layers remain denser than of the upper layers. D rho by dx says that greater than equal to 0 says that when we go to downwards, the density is increasing. We can consider density as a function of concentration and temperature. Then naturally by d rho is equal to dou rho by dou c at constant temperature into dc plus dou rho by dou t at constant concentration into dt. We can simply when the density is when any variable is a component of two functions, we can simply written like this. Dividing the expression by dx, we get the above expression is almost rho divided by dx. We get equation 2, and you can using equation 1. Using equation 1, d rho by dx is greater than or equal to 0. We finally found by d rho by dx is greater than or equal to is put, and we found that the concentration, we said that the salt is almost concentrated at the bottom, so density is increases is higher in the bottom. We also find that the concentration we also find that the change in concentration when we go to downwards. So we calculated dc by dx from the above equation, and it is found that dc by dx is greater than minus dou rho by dou t at a constant temperature into dt by dx by dou rho by dou c at constant temperature. We from slightly more sophisticated analysis, which considers the effect of small perturbations. There is small perturbations in the above equation, that is the d rho by dc by dx is greater than minus d dou rho by dou t at constant concentration into dt by dx divided by dou rho by dou c at a constant temperature. We put a factor, or if we put a perturbation constant like a constant, or like a factor e plus alpha by v divided by v plus d, that is v is equal to the minimum concentration gradient required for maintaining a given concentration gradient and a particular level in a solar pond. That is v. Here v is the kinematic velocity. V is the kinematic velocity. Is the kinematic velocity, and alpha is the thermal diffusivity. And d is the diffusivity of salt water. D is the diffusivity of salt in water. So the minimum concentration gradient required for maintaining a given concentration gradient is discussed by this equation. So the small perturbation for solutions of salt in water under the conditions are recorded in solar ponds. The value of V plus alpha and divided by V plus T is about 1.15. This is just on the most of the cases, the value of V plus alpha and V plus T is about 1.15. The criterion for stability equation is a little more complicated by the criterion for the stability is a little more complicated, is little more stringent than the criterion given by the equation. That is this equation. From this equation, we can say that the rho more criteria for from this equation and this equation, the more stringent criteria or more explaining criteria is represented by the last equation. So the minimum concentration gradient required for maintaining a given concentration gradient at a particular level in a solar pond is accurately can be set from the by consisting this V plus alpha and V divided by V plus T small uh, perturbation constant. Then considering the this is a schematic diagram of a solar pond, and considering we can see that we can split the solar pond into three zones. The first zone is the surface convective zone, and it is 10 to 20 centimeter thickness, and the surface or upper convective zone, which is the top zone, and we can see that is 10 to 20 centimeter thickness, and which is of uniform concentration, and the and the next is the concentration gradient zone or the non-convective zone, which is half of the depth of this pond. The most or the most area or volume of the zone is of the concentration gradient zone, and the half of the depth of the pond is of non-convective or zone of the concentration gradient zone. As the name indicates, there is no convection occurs. In surface convective zone, there is also always convection occurs and heat transfer causes, and but it is of uniform concentration, and the temperature and the concentration increase with the depth in the non-convective zone, because in the non-convective zone, the temperature and concentration increase with the depth. We can see that the salt gradient is higher in this lower convective zone because the concentration gradient is increased. We see that d rho by dx is greater than or equal to 0, and the concentration is always increasing from downwards when we grow when we go downwards. So and it is here it is negative, and it is always greater than so the as we can say that in the non-convective zone, when we go downwards, the concentration and temperature always increases because there is no convection occurs, so there is no convection occurs, and heat is maintained there, and acts as an insulation, almost an insulation layer, and heat losses and prevents the heat losses in the upward direction. And the lower convective zone is the temperature and concentration, or here also like upper convective zone, temperature and concentration are constant, serve as the main heat collection as well as thermal storage medium. It is used as the main heat collection as well as thermal storage medium. Here also temperature and the concentration are also always constant. So the main part of these three layers is the non-convective zone, where there is no convection, and it is about half of the depth of the pond, and there is no change in temperature. There is a change in temperature and concentration with when we go downwards in this zone. It acts as an insulating layer. Then we consider the working principle with by considering these three types of zones. Usually a solar pond is a 2 to 3 meters depth thick durable linear at the bottom. The salts are used as the magnesium chloride or sodium chloride can be used, and the concentration varies from 20 to 30% at the bottom to 0 at the top. The temperature of the lower layer may rise to as much as 95 degrees Celsius, and the salt required is about 50 gram or meter square per day. The alveolar collection efficiency varies from 15 to 25 degrees, which to 25 percentage which is less than the flat plate collector. So efficiency is very much less than the efficiency is less than the flat plate collector, and but the flat plate when we consider the flat plate collector, the cost is almost lower, lesser, because the when we consider the area of using a flat plate collector, the cost for using this types of solar phones is cost reducible, or we can there is no expense for using a less expense for using a solar phone. So salt gradient, these all data are calculated by experimenting the various solar phones. As we say that the first experimental solar phones are constructed in Israel and the early 60s by Tabor and his co-workers. Although the principle of working was demonstrated effectively, and the temperatures close to the maximum possible value of 100 degrees Celsius were obtained at the bottom. As we know that in India also there is a solar pond in Bhavanagar and in an area of 1,200 meters square was built at the Central Salt and Marine Chemical Research Institute. These all data are studied, and the data from all these ponds are studied, and we finally arrive a result that the salt is required is about 50 grams per meter square a day, and alluvial collection efficiency is varies from 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. But we know that always the concentration is very higher at the bottom, so the 20 to 30% at the bottom to 0 at the top. To top the concentration is at the bottom is very higher, and the concentration at the top is always lesser. That is also indicated, and low density polyethylene and high density polyethylene woven polystyrene are used in the bottom because there may occur heat transfer to the ground because there is conduction through ground. So we use these types of thick durable linear at the bottom for reducing the conduction, and the useful heat is only 40%, because incident radiation is when we consider incident radiation is as 100, the 84% of the heat is lost to the atmosphere at the upper convective zone. So there is occurs convection, but convective layer there occurs convection, and the surface is so-called the surface convective zone. So only useful heat is 14%. When we plot the depth versus temperature graph, and we can plot like this, and the upper convective zone has as we go down to the slope to the depth, the temperature is increasing like in a that is in the upper convective zone. These data are plotted very shortly in this ball diagram here. The depth versus temperature. We can see that when we go from the upper convective zone to non-convective zone, the temperature is almost a constant. And but in a non-convective zone, the temperature is varying, and that is increasing. Temperature is increasing. But when we reaches the lower convective zone, the temperature is then also remains a constant. But the upper convective zone versus concentration, there is a slightly difference, but this here also concentration is uniform concentration, and temperature concentration also here is a uniform. The only concentration and temperature is increasing in the non-convective zone as it is fully indicated. These all things are fully indicated in this small diagram. This is the usual solar pond power generation system. It is not in our textbook, generally we just discussing, and so the heat from the sun is received at the solar pond, and we know that we have to create a temperature difference also. So we circulate the cold water to here, cold brine to here, and the hot water is taken from here, and there is a heat exchanger, and the turbine uh, uh, is activated by this whole by this temperature difference, and there's a condenser, and the cold water condenses, and the organic, there is a circulating of organic fluid, and we get the electricity here. Then we have to discuss the another portion of syllabus, the performance analysis of a solar pond. In order to analyze the performance of a solar pond, the first task is to determine the manner in which the radiation incident upon the solar pond is reflected, absorbed, and transmitted through the water. So we have to consider reflection. We said that 84% is reflected, heat is reflected outwards, and it is and only small 14% is used as a heat, and we have to also consider the absorbed and transmitted by mathematically, and the performance parameters. The first performance parameter is the transmittivity, transmittivity based on a reflection and refraction of the air water interface of solar pond. We know that by Snell's law, because okay, by we know that when we consider air water interface, the transmittivity based on reflection and refraction of the air water interface is calculated in a manner similar to the indicator, and air water interface. When we in the flat plate culture, we also discussed that if this is the incident light, and this is theta 1, is the incident angle, and this is the normal, and so we can say that the by Snell's law, this air, this water. So in the air water interface, the theta 1 is the incident angle, and theta 2 is the reflected angle, and we can say that the by Snell's law, sine n1 sine theta 1 is equal to n2 sine theta 2 sine theta 1 by sine theta 2 n2 by n1, by which the rho is the reflectivity, and the rho 1 and rho 2 are the two components of polarization of reflectivity, and it is half rho 1 plus rho 2, and tau r is the transmittivity, half tau r1 plus tau r2. Reflectivity can be calculated by sine square theta 2 by theta 1 minus sine square theta 2 by theta 1 plus root 2 tan square theta 2 minus theta 1 tan square theta 2 plus theta 1, and from this equation we calculated the transmittivity by tau r is equal to 1 minus rho, because we calculated rho is equal to half rho 1 plus rho 2, and from this data we pointed out that it is in that for angle of incidence from 0 to 60, from 9 to 0 to 60, the loss due to reflection is small and ranges from 2 to 6%. Reflection, the loss due to reflection is 2 to 6%. The losses are increasing from 75. We can see that reflection loss is almost 0.2111. And at 90 it is almost normal incidence, and is 1. So at large angles the loss is large. We have to in a solar point from the transmittivity based on reflection and refraction at the air water interface, we can get to a conclusion that we have to put an angle of small incidence in a smaller, the sun radiation must come in a small angle of incidence to the upper convective zone of the solar cone. Then only we can get a maximum amount of transmittivity, like 0.980 at 0 degree and 0.980 at 15 degree, 30 at 30 degree it is 0.979. So the angle of incidence must be very less, and so for only radiations, that is which has no angle of incidence, we get maximum efficiency in a solar pond. At a higher angle of incidence, the sunrise, no sunrise is. We can say that at higher angles, we can almost say that no sun rays are passing inside the solar pond. Transmittivity, then we are discussing transmittivity based on absorption. We have to consider the Poget's law. In this Poget's law, the di is directly proportional to dx, and intensity's variation is almost in the intensity variation. The glass is adequate for glass but not for water, because of water experimental data indicate the extinction coefficient. The K is the K is the extinction coefficient, and is the strong coefficient of wavelength, and we can say that from this the Poget's law, the intensity's variation is represented, and from that Poget's law we just simply evaluate IL by IBN is equal to transmittivity based on absorption, and minus, which is equal to e raised to minus k delta c. So from this we can simply say that it is not in this Poget's law, and this is not in our textbook, and this is simply to analyze that this constant, the k is coming from the extinction coefficient. K is coming from the Poget's law, and the Rebel and Nelson founded the equation tau is equal to tau A is equal to summation j is equal to 1 to 4 aj e raised to minus x kj. X is the depth of the water, and 70% from the equation, from this the A is the fitting coefficient, and for various fitting coefficients and for various extinction coefficient, we we calculate, since extinction coefficient is a function of wavelength, we calculated the wavelength. Wavelength, the most absorbing wavelength is 77.6% of radiation is corresponding to the wavelength 0.2 to 1.2 micrometer. The balance 22.4 corresponding to the radiation absorbing wavelengths greater than 1.2 micrometer absorbed near the surface 1 to 2 centimeters. So 22.4% corresponding to radiation greater than 1.2 micrometer. Only grade 1.2 to 1.2 micrometer in that range. Only 77.6% of radiation is absorbed, and 1.2 micrometer after greater than 1.2 micrometer is the radiation absorbed near the surface. 22.4% of that radiation is absorbed near the surface 1 to 2 centimeter. And Bryant and Kolbeck found the equation for tau A as the transmittivity based on absorption at 0.36 minus 0.08 log s, and x is the depth of the water in meter. Value for x is greater than 0.01 meter. From this, we can say that from the depth of the water increases, the absorption is transmittivity based on absorption is decreasing, and so when a solar radiation of is incident on the solar point 0.2 to 1.2 micrometer, among the 0.2 to 1.2 micrometer wavelength radiation is 77.6% of that radiation is almost absorbed at the surface, but the later 22 balance 22.4% of radiation which is greater than 1.2 micrometer is absorbed near the surface. When we increase the accuracy of the equation, which is by putting simply the cos theta 2, we can increase the accuracy of the equation. Tau A is equal to 0.36 minus 0.008 log x by cos theta if the radiation is not incident normally. We can increase the accuracy. These also these data are the first Bryant and Kolbeck transmittivity absorption equation is for the radiation which is incident normally, but the second equation is when the radiation is not incident normally. The accuracy can be increased by the cos theta 2 factor. Theta 2 is the angle of the refraction as we seen above. Reflection and absorption of a solar radiation in a solar point. The solar radiation in the reflection and absorption. From certain data, we can simply put the graphical the variation of solar radiation flux with the depth, water depth, and solar radiation flux is pointed out. The large amount of energy absorbed near the surface, large amount of energy absorbed near the surface is clearly obvious. In the present case, assume that the surface convective layer is 10 centimeter. When the surface, we assume the surface convective layer is 10 centimeter. Radiation absorbed in the wavelength 1 to 2 micrometer. The 10 centimeter thickness, it is seen that 0.3 0.396 or 396 kilowatt per meter, 396 watt per meter square radiation are absorbed in the it is seen that the amounting to 41% lost. 41% of the incidence energy is absorbed in it. From the graph, you can see that water after the water surface, the 10 centimeter thick the upper convective zone is surface convective zone or upper convective zone is 10 centimeter thickness, almost 396 watt per meter square radiation are absorbed at 1 to 2 micrometer. 1 to 2 micrometer and amounting to 41% of incident energy is absorbed. This energy is almost entirely lost to the surroundings and is one of the main reasons according for the low collection efficiency of a solar pond. The 30% of the incident energy is absorbed in the or accurately saying 41% of the incident energy is absorbed in the so energy is almost entirely lost to the surrounding. Reason for low collection efficiency from the so it is we see that incident flux is entering, but only at the water surface, when we consider the water surface, only 396 kilowatts, sorry, watt per meter square, or 41% of the incident energy is only absorbed. Concentrating to the bottom of the pond is almost 81% of the incident energy. So the reason for the low efficiency is collection efficiency is indicated by the variation of solar radiation flux with depth by this diagram. Temperature and distribution and collection efficiency is indicated by this the surface convective zone. The L is the length of the solar pond, L1 is the length from the surface convective from the top surface to the non-convective top of the non-convective layer, and L2 is the length from the surface to the lower convective zone. That's the calculation of temperature and distribution in a solar pond is rather involved since the pond consists of 3 zones. For an exact solution, one has to solve the appropriate differential equation for each zone. Use matching condition at the interfaces between zones and satisfy the boundary condition at the top and the bottom surface of the pond. So, because of this complexity, the usual practice is to make some simplification. We shall give here a formulation leading to one set of equations. In this formulation, the surface convective zone and the lower convective zone are assumed to be perfectly mixed layers and uniform at uniform temperatures which change only with the matching conditions. So the exact solution for each zone is very difficult since there is interfaces between the zones and the boundary conditions must be applied to the top and the bottom zones. This is much difficult. Matching conditions has to be used at the interfaces between zone and the boundary conditions has to be solved. So we have to assume some things to solve the temperature distribution and the collection efficiency. First assumption is the upper convective zone and the lower convective zone. The upper convective zone and the lower convective zone are assumed to be perfectly mixed layers at uniform temperature, which change only with the time. Upper convective lower and lower convective zones are perfectly mixed layers and at the uniform temperature can be only changed with time. This is the first assumption. And the second assumption is lateral dimensions of the pond are large compared to its length. lateral, when we consider the length of the pond, the lateral, that is the surface area, is very higher. The temperature varies only in the vertical direction. Properties are constant. From these assumptions, we solve the differential equation for the non-convective zone in the heat conduction of the former. Since there in the non-convective zone, their causes the heat is increase, the temperature is increasing when we go to downwards, and the concentration also increases. So we can apply the heat conduction equation, and which is rho Cp dot T to dot T by K into dot square T to by dot square minus dA by dx. T2 is the temperature of the non-convective zone. It is a function of x and t, because we know that the temperature is dependent on the we assume that the temperature is we know that the temperature is increasing with the when we go downwards in the non-convective zone. We goes downwards, the temperature is increasing. So we go, it is the temperature profile of the non-convective zone. It is T2. It is a function of x and time, but the upper convective zone is only a function of time, and the lower convective zone is only a function of time. There is no change with the x, and the concentration is uniform. That is, we say that the upper convective zone and lower convective zone are perfectly misleading. So the dA by dx, there is a factor. Usually we know that rho Cp into dou T2 by dou T, K dou square T E2 by dou x square is the heat conduction equation, but the solar radiation absorbed in the form radiation absorbed in the pond. When we consider the solar radiation absorbed in the pond, I dA by dx, that is, there is an intensity which is decreasing at the solar radiation absorbed in the pond. When we consider the solar radiation absorbed in the pond, it must be indicated by dA by dx. The total intensity is equal to IB to RB to AB plus IB to RD to AD. IB is the beam radiation, and ID is the diffusion radiation intensity, and RB to RB to AB is the transmittivity due to reflectivity of beam radiation, and transmittivity to the absorption of the beam radiation, and transmittivity to the diffuse radiation, and transmittivity due to the diffuse and absorbed radiation. The energy balance equations are given, and for the surface convective zone and lower convective zone, the energy balance equations are the rho L1 Cp into dt1 by dt of x is equal to L1, K into dot T2 by dou x is equal to L plus I of x is equal to 0 minus I of x is equal to L1 minus 1 by AP QC plus QE into QR. Now this, the first term is the rate of change of energy contained in the surface convective zone of thickness L1, and rate at which heat is conducted from the non-convective zone, and solar radiation is absorbed in the thickness L1 is indicated by this rate of change of energy contained in the surface convective zone of thickness L1. we found that the thickness of the surface convective zone is L1 and the solar radiation is contained in the rate of change of energy contained in the surface convective layer is indicated by the first equation, first term of the equation, and k into dou T2 by dou x at is equal to L is the rate at which heat is conducted from the non-convective zone. Convective zone from also from this also there is a goes KAP dou T2 by dou x is equal to L1 is goes upward. So which is a positive term because this term is into the surface convective zone and I is equal to x is 0 intensity I is equal to minus I is equal to x1 and the intensity at the top and the that depth L is L1 is indicated. Solar radiation absorbed the thickness L1 is indicated and the rate at which the heat is lost from the top surface by convection, evaporation and radiation. Convection, evaporation and radiation in the top surface. The convection, evaporation and radiation. There are three losses: convection, evaporation and radiation. This is indicated by this equation and for the lower convective zone the it is found that rate of change of energy contained in the lower convective zone of thickness is L minus capital L is the total depth of the solar cone, L2 is the depth from the top of the lower convective zone or so the thickness of the lower convective zone is L minus L2 and the rho into L minus L2 Cp dot T3 by Dt and K dot T2 by dot Tx is the factor that is coming from the non-convective zone. The heat is rate at which heat is conducted from the non-convective zone is indicated by K into dot T2 by dou x and I of x is equal to L2 is the intensity of beam of radiation, solar radiation absorbed in the thickness L2 and the last term the rate at which heat conducted out to the ground underneath there is a conduction loss. Even though we use polyethylene sheets, there will be a conduction loss. This is indicated by KAP dot T2 by dou x is equal to L2 and rate of use at useful heat extraction Q load AP. This is the extraction heat from for generating the heat is extracted from the bottom or lower convective zone. So that the extracted heat is also Q load by AP is also considered for generating the turbine. The lower energy balance equation for the lower convective zone is very well explained. The annual collection efficiency and extraction temperature as a function of pond depth. The pond depth is here. So the annual collection efficiency is indicated here. So when we increase the pond depth, the annual collection efficiency is higher. But the mean extraction temperature, the mean extraction temperature is higher at low pond depth. Or we can say that later investigations seem to indicate that Weinberg's analysis or all estimate these values. Nevertheless, that is the this is a simply a graph which is annual collection temperature and a function of solar from Weinberg used with the permission. from Weinberg. It is plotted by Weinberg, but later investigation seems that Weinberg's analysis overestimates these values. These values also changing. So the annual collection efficiency and mean extraction temperature with the pond depth also changing. Even though the solar bond faces some difficulties, wind-induced waves, which decreases the collection efficiencies, effect of rain, which decreases the salt gradient and the biological growth, uh, such as the plants and some kinds of small green sources, which also destroys solar pond falling due to dirt and leaves. There may be a dropping uh, of leaves in the top of the surface of solar pond, which may causes the collection efficiencies, and dirt is sedimented, which may also happens to the concentration gradient and efficiency of carbon effective bottom reflectivity. So we discuss the bottom reflectivity, the layer we use the bottom, the reflectivity must be there for in order to keep the hot water in the bottom layer. So bottom reflectivity must also be considered. So considering these difficulties, also the cost for solar pond is very less with when we consider the area for solar pond with a flat plate liquid flat plate collector, but the efficiency is very less. Is less than less than 15 or 20% efficiency for the incident ray of light for the solar pond. So solar pond can be used, and it is used in many countries, even India. So we discussed about solar pond and its performance, and thank you.